Hi, welcome to Best Movies Recap. Today I'm going to talk about the Indian psychological drama film Taare Zameen Par. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Ishan is an 8-year-old imaginative child who is well known among his peers as a troublemaker. He is the lowest-ranking student in his class and fails every subject. He is in his second year of 3rd grade, and based on his report card, he will have to repeat the grade. Johann, his elder brother, is a better student than Ishan. He enjoys tennis and will compete in the upcoming interstate tennis championship. Ishan frequently gets into fights with the bullies in the neighborhood. One day, a child's mother complains to Ishan's father, Nandakishore, about his behavior. He must humiliatingly apologize to the child and his mother. He shoves Ishan to the floor after they leave to discipline him. Nandakishore loves his children, but he is too harsh on Ishan. He believes that Ishan's low grades and inability to complete basic tasks are due to his laziness. Ishan's English teacher asks him to read a line from the book the next day at school. He tries his hardest, but can barely form a sentence. He has trouble understanding the letters, but the teachers mistake this for being a brat. He yells gibberish and is escorted out of class after she repeatedly urges him to read. It is not unusual for Ishan to be punished. In fact, he spends the majority of his time outside rather than studying because his teachers regard him as a nuisance to the other students. Ishan hadn't finished his math homework that day. To avoid having to face the math teacher, he skips school and spends the entire day wandering around the neighborhood. He makes the most of his day by buying ice cream, relaxing by the sea, and observing passers-by. He returns to his school bus, without anyone noticing his absence by the end of the day. At home, we see him create a lovely painting. Ishan enjoys painting, and his imaginative mind contributes to the creation of extravagant works. Later, his mother, Maya, attempts to tutor him and force him to complete his homework. She notices that his handwriting is terrible and that he can't spell anything correctly. She associates his inability with laziness and scolds him accordingly. Ishan will have to provide his teacher with an absent note from his parents the following day. He begs his brother to write the note for him because he is afraid of getting into trouble. Johann makes him promise not to skip school again and then writes the note. The child shows it to his teacher, who accepts it without question. He also pretends to cough to give the impression that he is ill. The math teacher surprises the students with a test that day. Ishan is given the test paper, but the letters appear to be dancing to him. The first question requires him to multiply 3 by 9. The kid imagines the 3rd planet, Earth, and the 9th planet, Pluto, fighting each other in his head. He daydreams about the Earth annihilating Pluto and rationalizes that the answer is 3. He submits the test, leaving the remaining questions blank. When asked by his friends, he confidently states that he thoroughly enjoyed the test. Nandakishore returns from a business trip the next day. Ishan is overjoyed by his father's return and lavishes him with hugs. Nandakishore, on the other hand, discovers the fake absent note from the day before during breakfast. He discovers Ishan has run away from school and is wandering alone in the streets after conducting an investigation. The next day, his parents meet with his teachers and the principal, who both condemn his behavior in class. They also learn about the most recent math test and its results. The principal believes Ishan is a special needs child who should attend a school for children with disabilities. Nandakishore is appalled at the prospect of his son being disabled. Because both parents are concerned about their child's future, they decide to enroll him in a boarding school. Ishan is completely opposed to the idea. He rebels and cries, begging them to keep him at home, and while his parents do not want to be separated from him, they do what they believe is best for him. That night, Ishan has a nightmare about losing his mother in a crowd and wakes up screaming. When she tries to calm him down, he promises to study harder if he is allowed to stay at home. This breaks Maya's heart, but Nandakishore stands firm in his decision. Ishan is finally transported to the boarding school in the countryside. He'll have to share a dorm with other kids and will only get to see his family once a month. It's a nightmare for the 8-year-old, who has never left his house. The hostel warden greets him by stating that his old ways will not be tolerated here. The family leaves the school with a heavy heart after touring the school. Ishan just stands there crying as their car drives away. He remains in this position for several minutes after the car has vanished from his view. He walks inside the hostel while still crying as it begins to get dark. He rarely speaks to anyone and rarely eats dinner. When he can't sleep at night, he goes to the bathroom and quietly sobs, missing his mother. Meanwhile, Maya returns home and goes through Ishan's possessions. To her chagrin, she discovers a flipbook depicting him being taken away from his family. The book breaks her heart because she realizes how much the child fears being separated from them. Ishan struggles in the hostel to do simple things like tie his tie and tie his shoelaces. Mr. Tiwari, his Hindi teacher, forces him to sit on the first bench with the class topper, Rajan, on his first day. The teachers quickly realize that Ishan is not typical. His art teacher physically punishes him for not paying attention in class. Nothing has changed from his previous school experience. He is always sent outside the classroom as punishment and is barred from participating in class activities because he ruins them. He eventually becomes so frustrated that he tears his books apart and throws them away. He stops trying to do better in school and falls into a depression and self-loathing spiral. When his parents arrive a month later, he locks himself inside a room and bursts out crying for the first time since he last saw them. To rebel, he runs outside and runs several laps around the basketball court. To give him a break from his life at the hostel, his family takes him to a hotel for the night. Johann gives him a gift basket of painting supplies, but he has no idea that Ishan has shut down his creative side and stopped painting entirely. The next day, his family bids him farewell and abandons him once more. Later that day, Ishan is at his lowest point. He looks down from the school's terrace, thinking about how it feels to jump from that height. Rajan, his only friend, interrupts his thoughts and informs him about their new art teacher. Ishan is unconcerned because no teacher has ever helped him. The kids are taken aback when the new teacher Ram enters the classroom dressed as the Joker. In contrast to all other teachers, he sings a song, plays the flute, makes them dance, and lets them enjoy the class. While the old Ishan would have loved this, the depressed Ishan refuses to take part in any of it. The students' first assignment is to draw or paint whatever they want. Ram wants them to be creative, so he knows what he needs to work on next. The kids start drawing different things from one another, but Ishan doesn't even touch the paper. Ram initially assumes that the child is thinking, but when the class ends, Ishan's paper is blank. Ram, concerned, asks him what is wrong but receives no response. Maya calls Ishan that evening, but he only holds the phone to his ears and doesn't say anything. He is informed that the next visit will have to be postponed by a week due to Johann's tennis competition. This only confirms to Ishan that his family does not care about him. He wipes away a single tear and walks away silently. Ram notices Ishan kneeling outside the classroom the next day. He inquires about him after becoming intrigued by his behavior. Rajan reveals that no matter how hard Ishan tries, he has difficulty understanding letters. Ram works in a school for disabled children, so he notices children who are different. To learn more about Ishan, he goes through his old notebooks and discovers a pattern of similar errors. Even while teaching the special children, he can't get Ishan out of his mind. He had the same problem as a child, so he sympathizes with the child. After a few weeks, he realizes what Ishan's real problem is and travels to his hometown to meet his parents. They welcome him and allow him to look around Ishan's room. Ram is taken aback to learn that Ishan used to paint. This makes him even sadder because the child has lost his sparkle as a result of the pressure placed on him. Nandakishore dismisses his son, claiming he is lazy and dislikes studying. Ram responds by demonstrating the pattern in Ishan's errors. He frequently inverts the letters, as if he is having difficulty distinguishing them. Still, the father associates it with laziness, but Ram states unequivocally that he is incorrect. He claims Ishan has dyslexia, a neurological condition that causes him to have difficulty understanding certain patterns such as letters and words. Furthermore, he has coordination issues, which prevents him from tying his shoelaces. The kid must have been in a lot of pain because no one realized he couldn't read and assumed he was just being lazy. Nandakishore believes Ram is insulting his son and lashes out at him. Ram asks him to read foreign letters written on a box to make him understand. When Nandakishore is chastised for not understanding the letters, he realizes what his child is going through. Nonetheless, he refuses to acknowledge that his son can make a living from his one and only passion, painting. Ram is determined to disprove him. When he returns to school the next day, he teaches the students about all of the famous historical figures who were terrible students as children. He uses scientists, actors, and philosophers as examples, which makes Ishan feel a lot better about himself. When Ram asks who invented the light bulb, Ishan answers for the first time in weeks, Thomas Edison. Ram sees a glimmer of hope for the boy's education. Later that day, Ishan is by the pond when he constructs a working boat out of rubber bands and leaves. Ram is so taken with the structure that he brings it home and keeps it as a decoration. Ishan's creative senses begin to return, but he still has a long way to go before learning to study like other children his age. Ram goes to the school's principal one day and tells him about Ishan's problem. The principal suggests sending him to a special needs school, but Ram is confident that Ishan can learn alongside regular students. He suggests that the teachers recognize the child's issue and assist him accordingly. When the principal says it's not possible, Ram offers to teach Ishan after school every day. For the sake of the child, the principal agrees. Starting the next day, Ram employs a variety of novel techniques to assist Ishan in distinguishing letters of the alphabet. They learn through the use of sandboxes, Play-Doh, sensory methods, and so on. Ishan learns to calculate with the help of audiobooks and the stairs. He begins to understand letters that other teachers couldn't teach him for years in only 2 months. Nandakishore visits Ram at school one day to brag about how they are researching more about their son's condition. He wants Ram to know that he is not an absent father and that he is proud of himself. Ram, on the other hand, blames the father for the child's lack of self-confidence, which Nandakishore cannot deny. On his way out, he notices Ishan reading from the notice board. He tears up as he realizes he has unknowingly harmed his child and is unable to face him. Ram organizes a painting competition for both teachers and students of the school a few days later. Everyone gathers in the amphitheater to take part. For the first time, Ishan employs the painting supplies given to him by his brother. The competition begins, and everyone begins drawing. Even the teachers enjoy the event and give it their all. By the end, Ishan has created a lovely painting of himself sitting by the pond. When he goes to the front to turn in the painting, he notices that Ram has painted a portrait of him. He is rendered speechless by the sight. After a while, it is announced that the winning painting will grace the cover of the new edition of their yearbook. The principal claims that the decision was difficult because 2 paintings, Ram's and Ishan's, stood out the most. Finally, Ishan is declared the winner, with Ram taking second place. The audience erupts in applause. Ishan feels recognized for his talent for the first time in his life. He can't help but cry and rushes to hug his teacher. Maya and Nandakishore arrive at the school for the end-of-year parent-teacher meeting in the final scene. The principal brags about Ishan's talent, displaying his painting on the cover of the school yearbook. The parents are taken aback by the sudden attention. The principal also commends Ram for teaching the child in the manner that he required. Later, the parents meet with Ishan's teachers, who show them his report card and praise his undeniable progress. Outside, the couple watches their son play and sheds happy tears. Nandakishore expresses gratitude to Ram for assisting Ishan and apologizes for his actions. Finally, Ishan bids Ram farewell and returns to his hometown for a vacation. Subscribe for more videos like this, enable notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. Thanks for watching.